My grandfather passed, and he was my hero, and he really meant the world to me. And I remember sitting on the front row of his funeral in May 1994, sobbing. And I remember one of my cousins leaned over to me and she said, she was like, "Little Mike, are you going to go up and say some remarks about your grandfather?" And person after person was going up. And in my heart, I had so much that I wanted to say about my grandfather because he was my hero and I spent a lot of time with him as a young man. But I was paralyzed by fear.
Hello, Michael. Welcome.
Hey, Patty. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. It's nice outside here in Ohio. Beautiful day. It's finally starting to warm up, so I'm absolutely loving that.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm very good. Happy that my day's over and I get to have a nice chat with you. Dear friend at home, Michael J. Pope Jr. is a gentleman I came across on Facebook. He invited me to be a guest speaker at his wonderful club in Ohio, as he just mentioned, Anthem Express Toastmasters, a little while back, and I was more than happy to join in on the fun. And he later—
You did an amazing job, by the way. Sorry to cut you off.
Thank you so much. I paid him to say this, by the way. And he later participated in as a speech evaluator on a mock contest that I coordinated, and you did an awesome job on there too, Michael.
Thank you.
Without delay, who is Michael J. Pope Jr.? Would you be ecstatic if you could replace the fear and anxiety of speaking with confidence and excitement? There is a definite process for becoming more confident and creating lasting results. It is not easy to come by and it is not easy to use. However, once you master it, you will be able to go further and faster than you ever believed. Michael Pope knows how to help you create that confidence and overcome your fear. He is a distinguished Toastmaster, which is, by the way, the highest distinction that one can obtain at Toastmasters, besides one of world champion of public speaking. And he's also a certified virtual presenter. Michael also holds certifications with the John Maxwell team and in neuroencoding with Joseph McClendon III. All right. And he's also a family man.
Yes.
And a man of God as well. So
absolutely. I'm a Christian, married, 3 boys.
Oh, 3 boys. You're a busy man. Great. So let's get started. Michael, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself as a boy, a teenager, and then a young man? What was it like to be in his sneakers?
Absolutely, absolutely. So growing up as a young child, I grew up as an only child. It was just my mom and I for the majority of my life. And I'm a natural introvert. So I was labeled as being shy and quiet. People would always, like if someone asked me a question and I wouldn't respond right away, someone would quickly answer. They'd say, "Oh, he's shy," or "He's quiet. He's not going to say something." They would answer for me. And so I grew up having people always speak up for me versus me speaking up for myself. And that carried through really until college, believe it or not. I actually lost out on opportunities. I remember my senior year in high school, I had an interview for a scholarship. And I thought I did well in the scholarship. But then afterwards, they ended up picking someone else for the scholarship. But then word came back to me. They said, "Hey, they were really impressed with you and they wanted to give you the money, but they asked you a couple questions and you made it seem like you didn't need the money." And it was because I was shy and didn't speak up, because I think they asked me a question of, why do I want the money or something like that. And I couldn't give a good answer because I was so afraid of what people would think of me when the words came out of my mouth. So that kept me reserved. And so all throughout my life, into my early 20s, I didn't speak up. I was terrified of public speaking. So that's really what my life was, to the point where I would get nervous and almost feel like hives are going to break out or something, just because of how nervous I was.
Yes, I can definitely relate to that. Just the thought of all the opportunities that I missed by not speaking up not asking, just wanted to disappear and not be noticed. Like I 100% relate with this. What field of study did you go to in college?
Yeah, so I majored in computer science, and that gave me a few opportunities to speak, but I was terrified of them. So I turned down more opportunities than I accepted, but I still was able to do a little training while I was in college as a peer mentor type of thing. But yeah, that fear was consumed me.
Yes. It's funny, we ended up in the same field, computer science. That's what I majored into. Okay, so at this point, so you're a young man, I guess. And what was the turning point that made you decide to go visit a Toastmasters club then for the first time?
Yeah, absolutely. So I had a few missed opportunities that I had a lot of regret for. One big one was in the summer of 1994, my grandfather passed, and he was my hero, and he really meant the world to me. And I remember sitting on the front row of his funeral in May 1994, sobbing. And I remember one of my cousins leaned over to me and she said, she was like, "Little Mike, are you going to go up and say some remarks about your grandfather?" Because they were asking people to come up and say remarks in like an open mic type of situation. And person after person was going up. And in my heart, I had so much that I wanted to say about my grandfather because he was my hero. And I spent a lot of time with him as a young man. But I was paralyzed by fear, right? So inside, I wanted to raise my hand and go up there, but I was just paralyzed in fear. And that shame lived with me for a while. And so then in 2003, I joined Toastmasters. And I still remember going into the meeting with that fear and giving my first speech, that icebreaker speech. It was the summer of 2003 when I joined Toastmasters. And when I was asked to give that 4-minute speech, I was sitting in my seat, literally consumed with fear and felt that nervousness. And Patty, I came down with a bad case of the what ifs, right? So what if I forget my lines? What if they don't like me? What if? And so I just sat there consumed. And then when that Toastmaster called my name, that walk took forever because like with every step I would take, the nervousness continued to increase. And I still remember when I shook hands with the person who introduced me to Toastmaster that day, my hands were dripping with sweat because of how nervous I was. And I looked out at the crowd. So it was in person, it wasn't virtual. So I had to look out at the crowd and then my nervousness continued to increase. So I just grabbed my notes. And I literally thought that the people in the front row could see the butterflies fluttering in my stomach because of how nervous I was. And so I had my notes in my hands and I was shaking them like this. "Hello, my name is Michael." Oh. I mean, those 4 minutes felt like 4 hours. And then when I sat down, Patty, I was still a little nervous, right? I was shaking inside, but I had been to enough Toastmaster meetings at a point where I knew that they were going to have to evaluate my speech. And I was like, I was horrible. And I dreaded that evaluation because I had tried taking public speaking in college. And I was used to getting that red ink of, "No, this is wrong. Don't stand that way. Don't put your hands in your pocket." Like all the little corrections that they make in college public speaking classes. And that's what I thought I was going to get in Toastmasters. But to my surprise, it wasn't like that, right? I mean, you've experienced them, right? It was an uplifting evaluation that let me know that I was in a safe place to grow, that this was an environment where I knew I could grow and learn how to be a confident speaker. And I'm so forever thankful for Toastmasters, for the Toastmasters environment that I've been a part of.
Yeah. So I've been smiling the whole time. It's not because I can relate. It's either crying or laughing, okay? Because it brings me back to my experience and all those humiliating experiences going back when I had to speak and I didn't want to speak, or I was forced to give a toast at somebody's birthday or at work or whatever. And it was always a nightmare. So I'm laughing right now in retrospect, but yes, I feel you. And and yes, we're very nice at Toastmasters. We're like a family, and very welcoming, and they're so uplifting. And this is why, yes, I continue going there every week because at my club it's just a wonderful place. But of course, we're challenged though. It's not just like people say nice things to you. Like they will uplift you, but there's
Absolutely.
there's always something we can improve, but in a nice, gentle way. So this is what I love about it. So
yeah, because that evaluator that day, I mean, he could have given me 20 things to change about my speech because I knew that it was horrible, right? But he gave me like 2 things to work on for my next speech. And he encouraged me to sign up for my next speech. Mm-hmm. And I did.
Yes. So what, in retrospect now, well, also because you are a trainer and a coach, what would be your best advice for someone? And not just because sometimes people think that, well, I'll never put myself in a situation where I have to speak in front of in an auditorium in front of hundreds of thousands of people. But people, they still have that same panic for even doing virtual presentations, right? Or just showing up because now the world is pretty much virtual at this present moment. What would be your best advice for them? Like if they're just terrified of pushing record or putting themselves out there, what would you like to say?
Yeah, so if I had to narrow it down to one thing, and so this is tough because there's lots of advice I can give someone who is nervous, and I've done that. But if I had to narrow it down to one thing, I would say just remember that your audience wants you to succeed, right? If I'm speaking in person or even speaking in virtually, I mean, they've showed up for a reason, and I guarantee you they didn't show up to say, hey, I wonder if Michael's going to fail today, right? That wasn't their intention. They showed up for a reason because they want me to succeed. If I'm training them on something or if I'm sharing information with them, right, they've got their pencils and their pads and they're taking notes and they're ready to learn something. So they're rooting for you. That's what I have to tell people right there. So just remember, right? Don't be so consumed about, well, what I learned was the reason why I had so much fear before and why I came down with the what ifs, that bad case of the what ifs, was because the focus was on me instead of putting my focus on the audience. So now that I know that my goal is to add value to the audience and that they want me to succeed, it relieves all the pressure because it's up to them what they do with that information. I'm going to let it flow.
Amen to that. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so at this point, so you're a Toastmasters member, and when did you decide to transition from being a corporate employee to being a coach, a teacher, and a trainer? Because you're doing this full time, right?
No. So I'm still working a full-time job, believe it or not. So yeah, so I'm still a full-time software developer, but in addition to that, I'm running my training business on the side. And I'm working for a couple of different corporate entities doing training for them as well as individuals. But that transition actually happened because of Toastmasters. My first training sessions in Toastmasters was me doing 45-minute TLI training sessions for Toastmasters. And I remember being terrified about going from that 5 to 7 minute speaker to a 45-minute speech and like, will I even have enough words to say, right? Can I even memorize my lines and all that? So I used to be terrified of that too. But Toastmasters gave me lots of opportunity to speak and train, and I started doing that over and over. So every TLI or club officer training event that we would have, I would volunteer or be asked to volunteer to do some type of training. So I would do it there. Then I started speaking at Toastmasters conferences in person, of course, virtually. But that also gave me another opportunity just to train in front of a bigger audience, giving a larger speech. And so that started building up my confidence to say, okay, I'm actually ready for that. And people would come up to me, they'd be like, man, are you getting paid to speak? You're like, that was a really good training. I got a lot out of it. My company would love something like that. Right. And so I kept hearing that enough where I was said, okay, I need to start looking into what it takes. Because to be honest with you, Patty, for a long time, I thought that I had to have a title before I could go out and get paid to speak, train, or coach, or some type of certification, right? That's what I thought. But I remember Darren LaCroix, he came and spoke at our district a few years back, and he was telling his story a little bit. And he was talking about how he was a paid speaker before he won the world championship, and how he was even making more money than some of the world champions at the time just because he had so much experience of speaking. And I was like, okay, so it's not necessarily the title, right? It's, do you have a good message that people want to pay for? And I started studying that and reading other books on what it takes to be a professional speaker, meaning you're getting paid to speak. And that really helped me out a whole lot to start making that transition. And so, like I said, I'm feeling that a slow transition now where I absolutely love my job as a software developer, but I've learned that I can add way more value as a presenter, as a coach, trainer, all of that. And so I'm loving being able to do both.
Yeah.
And the virtual environment is really helping with that.
Yes. Are you kidding me? Because I know you have many different programs and workshops and training sessions available, and you seem to be in the right path doing what you're doing on your part-time because there's so many fantastic testimonies from your different clients. And so I feel like when you're appreciated this way, and anyway, you've provided me feedback and I really love your feedback that I'll be integrating into that speech. I'm in a competition and speech contest right now.
Yes, so. Congratulations, by the way. Yeah.
Yes, I saw that. Yes, it's premature. I only made it through the area level here. Okay, so
it's never premature, right? It's like you gotta, let's say, take it, right? It's like we've got to be willing to celebrate even those small wins, right? Even if it was just you in that competition, but you still move to the next level, right? You still have to celebrate that.
Yes, it was unexpected. Oh no, I had a few. So the club level, my club did not compete. We're a very small club and nobody was interested. So then I just joined at the area level. But it's okay. But now I'm going to be in the division with even stronger, because we all have a good message, right? Their message was great. It's just, I guess, I checked more boxes on the judge ballot. And now I'll see what happens in the next one. Stay tuned.
Yes. Yep. Keep it up. You got it.
No, but you're good at what you're doing and you're very appreciated. On all platforms, I'm seeing nothing but positive comments from you. So
thank you.
Yes. And you also are a Christian speaker. I saw this, I believe, on LinkedIn profile that you're a Christian speaker, and I'm a Christian myself, and I'm very enthusiastic. So enthusiastic about it that I started a whole separate Patty Pass spiritual journey channel, just because I know I'm very passionate about the world of public speaking and also about my spiritual journey. So can you tell us a bit more, like where do you speak? Are you like a minister, or you just speak somewhere, places?
So my wife and I, we've been in children's ministry for several years now, just volunteering in children's ministry. So I have, taught classes there. And then we also, for years, we taught Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. And so I would do that in the church as well, in that environment. Okay. Right? And so I love speaking on faith or, finances and other things. And I'll tell you, something that really, my birthday is next month. It's April 11th, right? And so I actually found a verse, one day, I've been reading some things in the Bible, and then I ended up looking up something, and I was like, oh man, this verse here is just perfect for me. So it's 1 Peter 4:11, and it's in the New Living Translation. So I'll read it to you, and you'll understand why I got so excited when I read this. Well, so in that verse, 1 Peter 4:11, it says, do you have the gift of speaking? Then speak as though God himself were speaking through you. Do you have the gift of helping others? Do it with all the strength and energy that God supplies. Then everything you do will bring glory to God through Jesus Christ. All glory and power to him forever and ever. Amen. And when I read that, I was like, yes, because I've been telling people for a while that I was just using my gifts. I knew they were my gifts and understood that. But when I read that, I was like, yes, I do have a gift of speaking, and I do have a gift of helping people. And that's where a lot of my testimonies come from, of me serving and helping people, and awards that I've won come from that. And I'm like, that is perfect. And then it lines up with my birthday. So I was like, that's just even that much better. All right. So now that's my new favorite verse right there, 1 Peter 4:11.
Yes, it is an awesome verse. I really love it. Thank you for sharing. And I find that, because was it Darren Crow who said that nobody joins Toastmasters to speak at Toastmasters, right? We joined Toastmasters. The reason why I even started this whole thing was because of my passion for and my desire to help women, right? And I did not feel adequate. I did not feel like I had the words, that I was eloquent enough. I stuttered a lot. And so I joined Toastmasters to gain the confidence necessary to reach out and to connect with the whole community. So this is why I'm here. So it doesn't matter what the motive is. We all have a story, first of all. The question is, can we articulate? Like, we're all walking movies and books, right? And just a question, do we want to share? And if we do, maybe, because often we can share, we can help others by sharing our experiences, right? So it's
yeah, and I tell people that all the time. So whenever I'm doing trainings for TLIs to newer Toastmasters, I always tell them, hey, remember why you joined Toastmasters, right? Take some time and identify those reasons, because there's going to be times when you don't feel like writing a speech or even continuing on. But if you can hold on to that reason why, it'll keep you going.
Yes. And you have a whole lot of fun. We have a lot of fun in the public speaking world. And I just saw on social media that you just attended a phenomenal John Maxwell conference.
Yes.
It seemed like so much fun. I wanted to be there. You were like posing with so many people. I just wanted to be there. I could feel the energy.
It was amazing. So it was probably over 2,000 people in person. Plus they had a lot of people there online as well. But just an amazing event down in sunny Orlando, Florida. So I was down there for I guess I was in Florida for about 6 days. Around 4 days around that team, and it's just absolutely amazing. I mean, so John Maxwell, leadership expert, I think he just turned 75 years young, full of energy and wisdom. And I felt like I was just reignited towards my purpose while I was down there at that conference, because there was just so much wisdom and powerful information that was shared. I mean, it's such an honor to be a part of his team.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's cool. It's cool.
I think I have this Bible. It's not a Bible, but it's Ava. I love this one. I went through it. Yeah, I'm a highlighter. I'm a very heavy highlighter.
Oh,
this book is like phenomenal. So I can only imagine being in an actual conference with him present, with a bunch of. You must have felt like you were on fire.
It's cool because with me, because I'm part of the faculty also. So we have a smaller meeting. So just imagine, so I'm at a conference with over 2,000 people, and then I'm able to be in a room where there was maybe 30 of us in a room with John Maxwell one evening, him sharing, and I was literally like very, very close to him, and able to take some close pictures with him, have him shake my hand, all that type of stuff. I mean, it was just a cool experience. And I tell you, so you mentioned Bible. So he has a leadership Bible that's really good as well. I mean, he shows you how like a lot of his books, come from wisdom that he learned in the Bible, and so it's pretty cool.
Yes. Are you like one of those groupies that when you shake somebody's hands, you just like don't wash your hands for like the whole week after? Or
No, thankfully I'm not that bad anymore.
In a time of pandemic,
anymore, right? Yeah.
I think in a time of pandemic it doesn't work anymore. But yeah, I'm just kidding. It's awesome that and he has a lot of knowledge to share, and he's transformed Earth, actually, I find, with all his everything he's shared for the last decades, really.
Yeah, I mean, he's written over 100 books. I mean, he's big. I mean, but one of the things one of the key things he always tells us, really two things that he focuses on every time I hear him speak, is he talks about that, we're people of value who add value to other people. And he wants us to just remember that, like anything that we're doing, think about how can I add value to this person? So even right now, like how can I add value to your audience? How can I add value to you? So that needs to be top of mind. And then he also talks about the importance of consistency. And he says consistency compounds. And like people ask him all the time, how did you write so many books? He's like, I'm consistent. I write every single day, right? And people are like, John, what do you do on your birthday? I write, right? So he's got certain things that he does every single day because consistency is important. He was like, I know it's boring, but I've got things I do every single day. He's just consistent, and it's amazing.
Yes. Okay. And what would be your best advice? I like to get all the best advice possible from different, I guess, because you're full of wisdom too, Michael. Your best advice for someone who, they're not where they would like to be in life. They're not satisfied. They're miserable, and they don't see a way out of their current circumstances. Like they just feel stuck. What would you like to tell them?
Absolutely, absolutely. So if anyone is out there is stuck, my best advice to you would be, first, determine what do you want. So many people, and when you start coaching people, this will make more sense, but a lot of people will come to you with their problems. They're like, well, I can't do this, or I'm suffering here, or I've got this pain, or, I'm procrastinating, right? So they come with you with their excuses, and you have to almost stop them and say, ho, stop. Okay, that's great, but what do you want? and get them just to refocus their mind onto, okay, what I want is a better job, or what I want is a promotion on my job, or what I want is to be getting paid to speak, or whatever it is, right? What I want to be is to be debt free, right? So figuring out what someone wants first, then take some time and identify why do you want it. And you literally have to write it down, because you don't want to type it, because if you handwrite it, it's something subconscious or whatever that, whatever you write, you invite into your life, yes. Right? So take the time and write it down. Write down those reasons why you want it, because that's going to help fuel you and really put you in that right frame of mind and right direction. I think so many people get caught on what they don't want versus what they do want. But once you have a clear understanding of what you want and why you want it, then I guarantee you a plan is going to show up, right? Either it's going to be an opportunity from someone else, or you're going to be Googling something one day, or right, it's just something's going to come to you, but it's because your mind is focused on, what do I want and why I want it.
Yes, that is so true. You're like fine-tuning your brain into seeing opportunities, basically. You're opening up your eyes. Whereas if you would not have drafted those intentions, you wouldn't even notice that, and I don't know how many times recently, especially after I read this book, The Power of Self-Discipline, basically. But anyhow, yes, you heard all about that. But definitely when you put it down, so I love what you just said. When you put it down, things, literally solutions just appear magically. It's the funniest thing.
I mean, it's like if you said right now, you're looking for a new car, and you said, I'm looking for, if you said I'm looking for a red sports car, then I guarantee you the next time you're driving in your car, you're going to start seeing red sports cars on the road, and like people who had them, who've passed you every single day, but you never even noticed it because you weren't looking for it. And so that's how it works. I mean, once you've identified what you want and why you want it, you're going to start noticing those opportunities, like you said. I mean, it's amazing how that works.
Yes,
it is. And it makes it easier for people to help you too. Right. So when you go to somebody and say, hey, I'm looking for more speaking opportunities, and they're going to be thinking, oh, man, who do I know that? Oh, yeah, I know such and such. Their company does a conference every year. They might be looking to hire somebody. Right. So then you connect those dots.
Yes. Yes. And do share, Michael, what's the next step for you? If you can, if I may ask.
Yeah. So let's see. So one immediate next step for me is I'm doing a training session tonight. So like I said, I'm part of the faculty on the John Maxwell team. So I do trainings twice a month for one particular team within the organization on some marketing techniques. So I'm going to be doing that following this interview. But then also something big for me is next month, I'm going to be speaking in person in Vegas, and absolutely blown away by this opportunity. So for me, they've already booked my plane ticket and hotel. So that's really a cool experience right there. Having someone else in advance go ahead and book your flight and your hotel for you. So that's all set up. And then I get to speak in person on a stage. And so that's cool. I mean, I spoke on the Maxwell stage in front of 1,500 or so people when I was in Florida, but it was only for I think we were there for maybe 15 minutes. So it was a short time on stage there. But I'm going to have an opportunity to actually give a longer keynote type of presentation in Vegas. So I'm pretty excited about that.
How exciting. Yeah. Are you nervous about that?
I'm a little nervous, right? So I always get a little nervous, even right before I get on stage. I'm a little nervous, but that nervousness helps me prepare. Right. It's not the type of nervous that I had before when I was consumed about what if I forget my lines or what if I mess up. It's not that type of nervousness. It's more of, man, I get this opportunity and I want to do my best. Right. I want to add as much value as I possibly can. Right. And, not to bring glory to me or anything, but, of course, to bring glory to God. So I just want to be able to pour out my heart and know that I properly prepared myself for this particular moment.
Wow. I have a little confession. I have Yes, it's confession time. I have never, since I've joined Toastmasters in May 2021, I've been virtual. I've never spoken in person ever. So you is the opposite. You've been like, what, since was it 2003 you said? That
Yeah,
you've been
2003.
speaking in person. So I haven't, like, here and there, let's say there was like some kind of a Christmas party or whatever that I was invited to at another club, but it doesn't really count. It was at somebody's house or something, but on stage, I don't even know. So that's another thing. So if ever I'm sort of, I don't know if that will be the case this time or in the future, if ever I make it through to the district level, it'll be in person. So I don't even know how to work the stage. So I may have to come to you for your services.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. But I'll tell you, so one thing you may want to consider doing is reach out to one of your local Rotary if you guys are meeting in person. Because I know like a lot of Rotary clubs, they're always looking for speakers. And I know you've already got a good speech, I mean, I'll say take a speech like that to that Rotary club, give a 20-minute, 30-minute speech in person.
What's a Rotary Club? Maybe I should know this, but I have no clue what you're referring to.
So Rotary is a worldwide organization. So I'm pretty sure there's some in Canada, but it's a volunteer organization. Okay. I think their motto is service above self. So they're constantly doing things in the community and all that, wherever they're at. But yeah, they're, like I said, a worldwide organization, very, very large. And in fact, Toastmasters has a partnership with the Rotary. So Rotary probably has over a million or so members worldwide.
I don't know why I've never heard of it. But the funny thing, I hadn't heard about Toastmasters before August 2020. That was the first time I even heard of. Yeah. So Rotary, first time I hear of this. I will Google them as soon as we get out.
Yeah. Google Rotary, you'll see. You probably got a Rotary probably like in walking distance from you, right? Like, oh, they meet over there, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Great organization, but yeah, like I said, they're always looking for speakers to come in, and they don't normally pay you or anything like that, but it's a great opportunity to practice your craft.
Yes. I'm not at the point to charge people to speak to hear me speak yet.
Hey, you never know. Trust me, because people here, you never know. I mean, people will pay you.
I just got started. I'm just going to. It's fine. I know that eventually it will probably get to that. But right now I'm just learning the art of public speaking. So yeah. I'm really enjoying the ride. So one day though, mark my words.
you'll get it for sure, Yes. And even I tell like anybody that's out there that's looking to overcome their fear of public speaking or even just get better, you have to speak more. Yes. Whether it's doing videos like this or and that'll help for sure. You go Facebook Live every day. I mean, you'll get used to the camera, but if you really want to get good at speaking, you've got to go out and speak. I know for me, and even so, one of the people that I helped mentor in our Toastmasters club, I introduced her to the concept of speaking outside of your club to other places, and so help her make some connections. And now she's doing great on her own. And she won our district last year, and she's on track to try to win it this year again. And she goes out and speaks all over the world, literally, since it's virtual now, speaking to other Toastmasters clubs, working on her speech over and over and over at different places. And it helps because you're getting feedback, and she's learned how to take in good feedback and ignore, bad feedback type of thing, but also just getting used to speaking to different audiences.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the great thing. We have access to the world when we're in Toastmasters, and it seems also like your Rotary Club is the same thing. So great. No, I'll do that. No, I've been doing that. I've been going around different clubs. That's why I also said I came to your club, right?
Yep.
To be a guest speaker, and I don't say no to the opportunity to speak because I love to get different feedback from different continents. So
yeah. I learned that from Darren LaCroix as well. When I started studying him many years ago, I remember him talking about how, when his mentors told him, hey, don't ever turn down an opportunity to speak, right? And of course, he's got his stage time thing where he's like, you never turn down an opportunity to speak. I mean, obviously, there's gonna be times where you have to turn it down, but don't turn it down because you feel like you're not prepared or because, you're scared or something like that.
Yes. And that's how we become better.
Yeah. I mean, no, I turned down even a paid one not too long ago because it was a wrong topic for me. I mean, I debated over it and I was like, I'm going to help you. I helped find someone that would be a better fit because I knew that it wouldn't be a good fit for me.
Okay.
but it wasn't a fear type of thing.
Mhm.
So,
Oh, yes, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there are certain subjects or certain forums I'm not interested in either. But the whole life thing, I'm not there yet. I will get there, but anyway, I'm just getting started. There's just so much to do, and again, I'm doing all this part-time. I have a full-time job that takes all of my time. So everything I do is on my own time. So there's only so much we could do at one point. But anyhow, I do what I can. We do what we can.
Yes.
Finally, if someone in the audience would like to reach out to you, what is the best way?
Yeah, so the easiest way is to go to michaelpopetraining.com, because I'm the coach's IT guy. So it's just a little bit. So, I speak speak and train on various topics, but I love helping speakers and coaches avoid tech overwhelm, whether it's doing some marketing or creating landing pages or social media images and all that type of stuff. So I help a lot of speakers and coaches with that. So you go to michaelpopetraining.com to learn more about me.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you so much. My main takeaways is to always make sure to bring value, whatever you do. Make sure you leave the room with bringing value to the audience. And also what you apply is definitely to be consistent. Whatever you do, be consistent. And if ever you're stuck, figure out what you want and why you want to do it.
Yes, that is very important.
Mm-hmm.
And also as a speaker, just remember the verse, 1 Peter 4:11, if you have the gift of speaking and speak as though God himself were speaking through you. Right. And it's not my power, it's his power flowing through me. And that'll help you with the confidence as well.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. And my dear friend at home or at work, thank you for watching. I hope that you feel like a wiser person now after listening to all those great tips from Mike. And I will leave you with this: the power of your voice can change the world. Find it and use it. See you in the next video. Bye.
Bye-bye.